Good morning,
Good morning,
and welcome to Family Jewels. I'm Colton Bartell,
and I'm Audie Bartell.
and we are both graduate gemologists here at Suzann's Custom Jewelers. Today we're talking about your jewelry and where to wear.
And how to wear, maybe.
Yeah.
We just kind of run into some issues with...
It's been like an epidemic of jewelry emergency removal.
Right, and repairs.
Yeah.
So we've made a couple of trips to the hospital. Not
for us.
Yeah. But so that, and then
We are doctors. We need white coats.
Yeah, I'm not even sure we're good assistants. So that, and then there's we've run into a couple things where jewelry shouldn't have been worn
where it was,
I guess,
and when it was.
Yeah. So we're just kind of doing a little refresher course. I know some of this goes in one ear and out the other ear, but some of this can be kind of costly and maybe somewhat a health problem, I guess.
It could be an emergency. Yeah.
So I know it sounds like we're a little bit mysterious about what's going on, but in the last month, we've been called to the hospital twice.
Yeah.
To basically cut a ring off, and for the most part, I guess the hospital normally wouldn't call us to do something like this, but both of them involved a stainless steel ring. A gold ring they could probably cut off, although
they just use bolt cutters, which is usually not the most ideal way. So we're gonna see if we can't do some training at some of the local hospitals here in Corpus, in their emergency rooms.
It sounds a little weird.
Basically, ring removal.
Yeah. The first one, I think, was somebody that was trying on somebody else's ring and it got stuck on their finger, and they let it go for long enough that there was no way they was going to get it off by like normal means.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I've heard a lot about the thread thing where you wrap your finger with thread and then...
Yeah, it's not that... It doesn't work as well as what it does in the videos.
Yeah. I don't know what they do, if they've got a synthetic finger there or something, but...
I don't know, but it's also got to hurt a lot more than what our method is.
Yeah. So what part of the deal is, like we said, where to wear it and when to wear it, I guess. It's not a good idea to try somebody else's ring on, especially if you don't know what your finger size is or theirs is. So I'll just tell you, for the most part,
force it on.
For the most part, it's easier to put a ring on than it is to get it off.
Yes.
And part of that,
you don't want to get in a finger trap situation.
Part of that reason is a lot of people don't know how to take our ring off. I know that sounds a little strange, but for the most part, you need to push up on the bottom of that ring. You don't want to drag.
And relax your hands.
Yeah, because your fingers have some muscle in it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is they're fairly emotional sensitive. You get a little bit distressed, I guess, or
your hands will swell.
And it's going to happen in your face and your hands.
Yep.
And fairly quickly. So you kind of want to remain calm or whatever. But the other thing is, on the second one was actually a spider bite and bit on the top of his finger, and they didn't take the ring off and let it go, slept with the ring on his finger overnight, and the next day it was impossible to get off.
It wasn't impossible. It came off.
Well, yeah. I mean, for him to get it off.
Yeah.
And to get right down to it, it was an impossibility for the hospital to get it off.
Yeah.
So that's when we get called in. We're kind of
we're the special forces.
we're the specialists. So normally what happens is we have a ring cutter designed specially to cut rings off.
Yeah.
And it's power driven, not the old ones we used to have. You'd twist them.
It was like you was winding them up.
Yeah.
It had a little key thing on the side. Yeah. Which we still have.
Yeah, but
we don't use.
Yeah, it's especially on a stainless steel ring. It's going to wear you out. I guarantee you work up a sweat.
Yeah.
So anyways.
And a blister.
Yeah. And little imprints in your fingers.
Yeah.
So I went down to the hospital and was thinking that this was going to cut it off. I couldn't actually cut the ring the way I wanted to. And then the other thing is the hospital had been trying to do this, so it was all somewhat mangled to begin with.
Yeah, it was just a mess.
Yeah. So my ring cutter wouldn't cut it off. So I had to come in, call the second specialist in, which was this guy. And we actually brought in a diamond cutoff blade.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem with it is, it'll cut basically anything, but it gets hot really fast. So you got to kind of watch it. It seems like it's still a slow process because you cut a little bit and you got to cool it off.
Cut a little bit. You only cut for about 5 seconds at a time, and then you have to cool for about 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah. So, and then that.
And you got to be very careful with it because you don't have there's no guard for it or anything.
Right. Yeah. Which
our ring cutters on a normal basis, our regular powered ring cutter does have a guard on it and everything, and actually slips up underneath the ring and then clamps down with the blade.
But what we're going to do, and we haven't done this yet, but since this is starting to be a regular call, is I think what we're going to do is supply them with a diamond cutoff blade, but we're also going to
train them how to use it.
Well, we're going to actually make a guard.
Yeah.
So, it's on our normal ring cutter, it doesn't generate enough heat. It does get warm, but it can cut longer.
But it's a slower.
But the problem is these stainless steel rings, still with that ring cutter, is almost an impossibility.
Yeah, you'll be there forever.
Yeah.
So, and almost all of those steel rings have to be cut in 2 places.
Right.
In order to get off because they're so strong.
And this one we had to do that.
Yeah. But essentially what we're getting at with this is, for one, don't wear your jewelry to bed.
All right.
Yes, things could happen in your sleep, like with this guy having the spider bite or something. But if say that you had even like a medical emergency.
Well, let's one of them that we run into through the years, and thankfully it's always been a gold ring and not a stainless steel ring, is a lady's pregnant, and it's kind of one of those things where things can change a little faster at times.
Yep. And
so you're wearing your rings to bed or whatever, and that you noticed that they were tight, but they've been getting tighter all along. You've still been able to get them off. It's not been a big deal. But this one night, you wake up like 2 or 3 in the morning, and your finger's throbbing, and there's no way you can get it off.
Yep.
And so then you got some issues.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, not that we're trying to keep you from wearing jewelry or whatever, but at the same time, even if you're not pregnant and you're wearing your rings to bed or whatever,
it's a lot of excessive wear.
Yeah, whenever we polish a ring, we basically polish with a muslin buff
or cotton buff,
basically.
Right.
Yeah. And surprising enough, sheets are made out of the same thing that we use to polish rings.
And the only way to polish rings is you have to remove a little bit of the metal to basically even out the surface.
Right.
And so we're doing that for only a few seconds, maybe twice a year. And if you're wearing your jewelry to bed, this is 6 to 8 hours of it, 365 nights.
Granted, you're
not doing it at 10,000 RPMs, or at least we hope not.
Yeah.
That is a wild, wild night if you're rolling around that fast.
That pillow's got to have some real problems.
Yeah. But you're probably really shiny.
Yeah.
But anyway, it does end up being a lot of excessive wear, especially on prongs. Any points that are narrower points or spots that can come in contact with sheets or pillows or whatever tends to wear down a lot quicker. And then pillows, funnily enough, love to grab prongs whenever they get thin. So what happens is actually as those prongs wear down, so you have a nice little prong up on top of your stone here, as it wears down and gets flat, it actually comes to a point. And then it starts to actually hook up and it catches on this top part and will actually break the prongs off. So we've had a lot of people lose stones in their bed, and
but don't realize that they lost it until
way later.
Yeah, and they think, well, we lost it in the car, or they notice it, say, standing in the grocery line.
So we tell them, well, check your bedroom. Do you wear your jewelry at night? Yes. Well, check your bedroom, and a good percentage of the time, that's where it's at. And it's for that reason. The other thing is, chains, wearing necklaces to bed. You're not staying in one spot all night long, and so as you roll around,
maybe what you could do on something like that is just have your spouse tuck you in. Just like layer you so you can't move. And then
well, what if they're both wearing jewelry? Who tucks who in?
Well, I would say,
yeah, call a neighbor,
call a friend, phone a friend,
phone a friend. We're not going down that road. Just take your jewelry off, because what happens with the chains is usually it's going to get caught on one side of your neck, and as you roll, it actually stretches the chain because now it's caught on the other side. And more often than not, it'll snap the chain, or getting dressed or undressed, getting it caught on a shirt or something like that usually is the point that it gets broken. So the rule is that we've established is it's the last thing on in the morning, first thing off in the evening.
When you get home.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Because I can tell you right now, your bed doesn't care how sparkly you are.
Well, and for some reason, it gets really dark at night.
Yeah, it does.
And
I don't know how that happens.
And you can't see anything anyways. So
yeah, so it will increase the life expectancy of your jewelry dramatically by just taking it off at night.
And surprisingly, you may be even more comfortable.
I know. It's weird how that works. Yeah. Not having metal just like flailing around on your body.
Well, that or getting stuck on your finger.
Yeah. The other big ones, especially now that we're in summer, is hot tubs, pools, and amazingly, the ocean. Or the lake. Or the river. Take it off before you go into the water. We'll just say that, because even in the shower or the tub, there's no reason for you to have your jewelry on. But the big issues, especially with pools and hot tubs, is the chlorine or iodine. Some people still use iodine.
Well, and the ocean.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got and even the saltwater pools.
You guys out there or people that have boats, maybe kind of get an idea of how corrosive maybe that salt water is.
Yeah.
So, like I know there are saltwater pools out there, so you're not going to get out of this problem with.
Though it doesn't affect precious metals the same way it does like steels and stuff like that, but it's still, I mean, we have people come in all the time. Oh, I found this on the beach. Really? Well, somebody must have been wearing it. because they didn't just like drive out and throw it.
Yeah.
So
There wasn't a mall out there.
yeah.
They dropped it out of the counter.
There's a jewelry outlet on the beach. No, just take your jewelry off, because we can't tell you how many people, especially down here, that have either been on vacation or maybe they don't go to the beach very often, or whatever, for whatever reason, were wearing their jewelry, and, well, I've got to replace my ring. Well, what happened? Well, we were at the beach, and it's like, okay, you don't have to say anymore. We already know from there. Somebody with a metal detector that's coming down from Nebraska is going to find it next week while they're on vacation.
Maybe. So, once it drops in that sand, especially if it's in the water.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like quicksand. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, I know it dropped right here, but
good luck with that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a bottomless pit there or something.
Yeah.
And then
may show up in an oyster.
And they have one of those cool pearls.
Yeah, it's ring shaped. But taking it off at the beach in saltwater pools, very good idea. Back to the chlorine and the iodine. So chlorine, bleach, and iodine will actually attack gold alloys. Doesn't actually do anything to the gold itself, but the other metals that are alloyed in there to strengthen or change the color of the gold, it'll actually leach it out. So you end up, in extreme circumstances,
gold sponge.
You end up with a gold sponge, because it'll eat all the other metals out, and it leaves just this real fine, basically whole network, of metal, and it's so brittle. I mean, you could crush a fairly large ring just in your fingers pretty easily.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take an extreme amount of time either. I've seen this done in as little as one summer. Basically a wedding set needing to be replaced because of being worn in a hot tub.
Yeah.
And the heat accelerates that.
Yeah.
And so, being that it's hot outside this summer and being in a pool that's possibly heated, if not, it's hot enough to heat it,
or even
that'll accelerate
or
it.
even the ocean. I mean, the bay gets pretty warm, the water gets pretty warm.
Yeah.
Granted, probably the hot tub, or especially the hot tub, is probably normally hotter than what that is.
Yeah, and has a lot more chlorine.
The other thing is I'll just kind of pick on them, I guess. Rolex watches are basically the only watch that could advertise that they're waterproof.
Yeah.
Okay, they're waterproof as long as everything is
properly sealed.
That includes the crystal and the case back
and the crown.
And the crown or the case tube.
Yeah.
So, we've had a couple instances here recently where I
actually had like 4 in one day of watches coming in with water in them.
Yeah.
One was an aquarium.
Yeah. Didn't have a fish though.
No, it didn't, but it could have.
Yeah.
It would have been a really small fish.
Yeah.
Like those sea monkey things or something,
Oh, does sea monkeys get that smell?
I don't know.
Oh.
You always see that little... Yeah.
It could have been like a amoeba or something.
An amoeba.
Yeah.
Well, there probably was some of those.
Yeah. So anyways, the one that I'm thinking of in particular was a Rolex. And all of the regular line Rolexes are waterproof as long as all those 3 things that we talked about are
intact
and good condition.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the line, it's probably not going to be when it's new, or maybe after it's been repaired, but those seals are either going to break down or
harden or just go bad.
Yeah.
Basically, you can think of it like this. If you've ever picked up like a really old pencil, like a number 2 pencil, and you go and try and use that eraser.
Do they still have those?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
These little erasers?
Yeah, I know.
If you let them
I'm talking
set...
about the number 2 thing.
Well, I know. If you let these set for even like a couple of years, especially down here in this climate, they will actually harden.
Get a crust on them.
And they almost turn to more of a plastic.
Yeah.
And they get really hard. And
I've done it where I just scratched that outer surface off.
and still used it.
Yeah. Well, that's a good tip. I mean, is that a hack?
That is not a hack.
That sounds like
Well,
a
it's a
hack. Well, anyways, what?
But yeah, the
basically,
seals
that's
go
same.
bad.
Yeah.
So it's not keeping any water out.
The other thing is, some people say will set their watch, and on a Rolex or a lot of the water
Resistant.
watches will have what's called a screw down crown, and they're kind of spring loaded somewhat, and you got to push them in and then turn them to get them in. So sometimes you set the watch and you think you've got the crown screwed in, but you don't. And then you get in a pool or maybe even the shower. Shower is probably a little less likely. But if it gets submerged and that crown's not screwed in, doesn't have to be just
It's
like
swim time all the time.
it's just not like wrench tight or whatever. I mean, it just it don't have to be really
Basically has to
tight.
get a good seal.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, we just seen one that the water was in there for a day.
Yeah.
And the movement was totally ruined. I mean, there was
just complete. I mean, it just seized up.
Yeah. So it doesn't take long because there are going to be steel parts inside that watch.
Yeah.
Even in Rolex, they're not made totally out of gold. And so...
And then there's also a specific alloy that's made just to make
spring.
watch part watch plates, which hold all the parts in place. Which I'm not exactly sure what that metal is. All I know is when it gets moisture on it, it rusts like instantaneously.
Maybe it's Insta-Rust.
Insta-Rust. They need to team up with like Rust-Oleum or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, basically, water and watches not a good combination.
Even if it's somebody's gonna say, well, I've got a Submariner. I granted, you got a Submariner and it's gonna be say $8,000 to $30,000 watch, but all you have to do is have one little miscue there.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have a
really expensive thick bracelet.
Yeah, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 repair job.
Yeah.
Just to fix that. So
yeah.
And the guys, this doesn't pertain to the guys, I guess, and some ladies will say, well, it doesn't pertain to me either. What I basically tell people is like, anything that I've got in the store, you can wear anywhere that you'd wear high heels. Yeah. And they'll go, oh, that's pretty silly.
It's like, well, I only wear high heels like once a year.
Yeah, right.
Well, come on, Bob. Stop wearing the high.
What I'm trying to get across to people is that, if you wear high heels to bed, I know that I don't have to worry about my jewelry getting messed up because.
You weren't born with it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like an article I did a couple of years ago, title of it was "Jewelry, Not a Body Part."
Yeah, but and you get right down to it. If you wear it all the time, you got one luxury: you get to see us more often because somewhere along the line we're going to have to do some repair work a little sooner than what we normally would.
Yeah.
So see, there's a plus.
Keeps me busy.
Yeah. So this is kind of, we've just run into several issues, and part of it is brought on because it's warm and we're around more water and more hot water, I guess.
Yeah. The other thing that we should probably point out too, and we talked about people losing jewelry and stuff in the ocean and stuff. So something else to maybe, if you haven't had it checked in a while, for one, you need to have your jewelry checked and cleaned at least every 6 months. Here at Susann's, it's actually a free service that we offer. Doesn't even have to be purchased here. Doesn't even have to be gold. It can be any jewelry. We'll actually check and clean for free. But if you haven't had like your ring size checked in a while, and it maybe maybe it's been a few years or something, if you've had any weight change up or down, there's a good chance that your rings may need to be sized. So for those that have lost jewelry in the ocean, a lot of times and I would say 90% of the population wears their rings too loose. We have those few that, we have to cut off, and it's usually because of extreme circumstances. But for the most part, everybody is actually wearing their rings way too loose. And so, yeah, you get out in the ocean, you get your hands wet.
For some reason, they shrivel up.
I know. And so, it's an immediate loss. And so making sure that your rings are fitting properly is a big deal too. So that's something that we can also provide as a free service, is to check ring size and check your rings to make sure that they are fitting properly and that they're not too tight, but even more so that they're not too loose. We'd rather it get stuck on your finger and we have to cut it off than you lose it entirely.
Yeah, it's really tough to size then.
Yeah, it is. It is. Because
Yeah,
then we got to find it first.
well, somebody has to find it.
Yeah, somebody has to find it.
I used to loan out a metal detector. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure yours was like sold. It was like the Flintstones one.
yeah, but
It's like the bird inside going rah, rah, and then when you get close, it's like tapping on the box.
It's a great bird though. I don't have it anymore. It actually even had a waterproof head on it. So, but
it's made out of sticks and rocks.
Never mind. I don't have it anymore, anyways. But
anyway. We are here to help you guys with your jewelry, making sure that it's in great shape, that it's fitting properly, that it is cared for properly. We're kind of like the mechanics for your jewelry, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I'm not just a huge fan of hospitals. I mean, I guess the blood doesn't bother me or something like that, but I just don't like to be there. It's like a sad place. I mean, I just don't like to go to that place. So I would rather see you here than there.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're going to maybe go around. I don't know how many hospitals there are, but
a lot.
We're going to see if we can't.
Well, and it seems like we always get called to the furthest ones away.
Well, maybe not. I've been to that one twice now.
Yeah. But either way, we would much rather you come in here and that we size your rings and make sure they're fitting properly, and that you guys are wearing them properly so that this doesn't happen, and that you still have the piece.
The other thing is, trying somebody else's ring on, and I know the first one that I went to do, I'm pretty sure that's what happened, is a ring will go on a lot easier than it'll come off. And again, it's a lot the way somebody takes it off. But once you get to that point of frustration, and sometimes it doesn't take long with some people,
you're going to see us real quick.
That you can't get it off, that finger immediately starts to swell to accomplish the thing that you thought was a problem anyway. So, but yeah, it's one of those programs that, or this one, we just had several instances of
all this stuff lately.
Yeah. So it's not that we don't mind repairing or taking care of that, but I would rather see you on a happier occasion than
a loss or stuck on your finger or something. Yeah.
We don't want to be doctors.
No.
So don't even want to be assistants, but but we have been. So that's kind of why we're doing this program today.
Yeah. And if that does happen, if you do have an emergency like that, if it's not blood, gore, and everything where you need to actually be in the hospital, if it's something that maybe you have just a minor injury, maybe you've jammed your finger or something like that and it's swollen and you can't get it off, or a pregnancy or something like that, just please, you can stop by during regular business hours, and we always have that capability of removing rings.
And we don't charge to cut ring off.
No, we don't. We've also done it. We've had some people that's maybe broken an arm or something in an accident, and that will also cause swelling too, where we've also removed those. And then a lot of times it's been just they didn't take the ring off for many, many years, and it's gotten to the point where it needs repair or needs checked and can't get it off.
Now we do charge for repair work.
We do charge for the repair, but we've had, I would say probably 50% of the time we're cutting a ring off is because it was left on for so long that basically the finger just kind of grew around it. And so we cut the ring off, and then basically we hold on to it, or you hold on to it, either one, until your finger heals.
Yeah, you're going to have to let it recover because it's restricted, and there'll be a...
It's actually restricted muscle growth and muscle mass there. But if it's left for long enough, it actually can cause nerve damage and stuff like that. If there's continued growth in the hand, if you're basically working with your hands a lot and you've had that ring on for a number of years, a lot of times that can eventually cause some issues with that finger. So we don't want that to be a problem. So we urge you guys to come in and get the right size of ring for your finger, and
we'll even show you how to take it off.
Yeah, but just so you know, if that is the case where it's been left on for that long and we cut it off, usually expectancy for your finger to recover is anywhere from 3 to 6 months on average. We've had some that were shorter, we've had some that were longer. It kind of depends on how extreme
the problem is.
Yeah, the problem is. But in any case, if that is something that you guys need, please stop by and see us. Here we are at 4226 South Alameda in the Town & Country Shopping Center, right next to Town & Country Restaurant at the corner of Everhart and Alameda. You can always give us a call, 361-991-7565.
You really don't mess this up.
I know. Visit us online at susanns-jewelers.com or right here on Facebook. You can send us a private message, and we will be glad to hear or get back with you. And if there's something that you guys would like us to talk about in a future episode, please feel free to send us a message or comment on this video. We always love to hear you guys' feedback. If there was something that you liked, if there was something you had a question about, we like it if you just say hi. So, but come in and see us. Have a great summer, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.